right?
true. Yeah, it's so
Like
true.
your heart can overcome you. For centuries, everybody's been told about that young guy, that little guy that beat the big guy, the
Yeah,
whole David and Goliath
yeah,
scenario.
yeah,
If you have heart to win, if you want to win, if you want to really get whatever it is that you want to that level to attain to, look at the Olympic Games and look at Simone Biles. What she's done. This little 4'8" girl.
or
You know,
Michaela Schifrin.
Michaela too. My God, the
Yeah,
greatest skier of all time. Of
yeah.
all time.
She's gonna kick. I mean, she just beat Ingomar. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, she's gonna
This
win
whole
the
male
100 or
female thing, and here she is. She's got more medals than him, and she's got at least another good 5 years or more.
she's gonna win over 100 World Cup titles.
Yeah, I
But
think.
look, so look, whether it be ski racing or fly fishing or sweeping a floor, we all start off on the bottom rung. We all start walking the same way,
Right.
upright, moving forward.
Yeah,
And how high, how much of that ladder do you want to climb? It's all up to your heart
yeah.
and how hard you're willing to fight for it. It's not easy because everybody wants to get on that top platform.
Right. There's all kinds of stuff that happen too. There's jealousy when people see what you're doing and they want that. And there's sort of this weird dynamic of things that happen too when you're so focused on what you want to do that you bump into, you know. Um, I guess one of the things that I was thinking about too, because we were talking about being a kid and growing up in Aspen, is what was it like the first time you got in the gates and you're standing there next to Ingomar and all those guys and going, oh my God, I mean, Automat, and I mean, there was just so many amazing skiers at that time. And here you are just entering the world of skiing. I mean, yeah, Spider Savage was around the time you were there too. So there were
Yeah,
some
Spider was just
names,
before
but
me. Yeah, he was just a little bit before me. But look, I was racing against Franz Plummer, one of the greatest
yeah,
downhill champions of all time. I'll tell you an amazing story. So it was Innsbruck Olympics, and he had won every downhill prior to that event. And it was the Olympics were in Austria, Innsbruck, Austria. He had this entire country on his shoulders.
yeah.
And I was skiing 19th. He skied 15th. So I skied right behind him. When he took out of that starting gate, the mountain had about 80,000 people on it. As he descended that downhill, the roar was like a hurricane roar.
Right.
It descended that mountain with him.
Wow.
And Bernard Russi from Switzerland had such a faster race time than any of the training run times that anybody had. That climber in the starting gate, he told me this here in Aspen, the next event after the Olympics. He said that he thought Russi had such a perfect run that he had to go completely all out in order to beat Russi's run. So he cut off all the corners. He tightened the radius. Every time he went off of a little roll or a jump, he was out of control because he was out of position.
Right.
He was trying to tighten that line.
Yeah.
And they eventually made this movie, Chasing the Line.
Yeah.
Well, he descended that mountain with this enormous roar. When he crossed the finish line with a faster time than Russi, the Innsbruck Valley just blew up. It just like, oh my God, an atomic bomb had just exploded. And then everybody acknowledged the fact so that roar ascended back up the mountain to the starting gate. It was one of the most amazing things I'd ever seen in all of sports.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds really cool. I mean, I feel like those experiences are the things that are the magic, that you keep with you in a sense.
And then, as a lot of people know, I married, Chris Evert, the tennis player,
Yeah.
one of the greatest champions in all of tennis. Here was a person who was on the cover of Newsweek, Time magazine.
Yeah.
And when we had a child, we were on the cover of People magazine.
Yeah, I know.
So my life as a ski racer was like this big. and then I marry somebody who has a lot of kids, you know. And then we have 3 kids, and it was really amazing because here's a great, oh God, this is a funny story. So how does a ski racer from Aspen end up with a tennis player? Not only a tennis player, but one of the greatest tennis players of all time. Well, she was in Aspen for
the tournament,
Christmas break. So Martina Navratilova had a home here, and I knew Martina.
Yeah.
And so Martina invited Christy to come to Aspen for Christmas break. She was going through a divorce from John Lloyd. And then they were going to depart from Aspen and go to the Australian Open together to play that tournament. And so I met Christmas at a New Year's Eve party here in Aspen at the Hotel Jerome. And so we started hanging out, and we both had a fair amount of commonality. We're both, you know, athletes, and she was going through a divorce, and I signed my divorce papers from a woman that I was married to, and she became a cocaine addict. And it says I'm not going to go down that road. I after 5 years, I wanted out.
Yeah.
So we started hanging out. We really liked each other. We'd stay up till about 2 or 3 in the morning every night talking about stuff. There was no romance involved at that point. There was just a lot of really deep conversation about her life as a tennis player and my life growing up here in Aspen, and wherever those type of conversations lead. And the day before they were supposed to leave for the Australian Open, Chrissy told Martina, well, you know, I'm going to skip the tournament. I'm going to stay here with Andy. She said, what? It was a Grand Slam event. You're going to skip it? She said, yeah, I'm going to hang out here with Andy. So Martina leaves. And so, you know, one thing led to another. Now we're going to sleep together. It's obvious. We've been hanging out for 2 weeks, right? So we go back to Martina's house where Chrissy was staying, and she had this little room, and Martina was gone. And I looked at Martina's bedroom, big king size bed. I said, let's sleep in Martina's bed.
Yeah.
So I wake up in the morning, right? I didn't get any sleep. I wake up in the morning. I'm laying there with Chrissy. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I just slept with Chris Evert in Martina Navratilova's bed. I got to call somebody.
Only in Aspen.
I called everybody. And so people were on the street, you know, the next few weeks, they were always saying, man, there's a rumor going around. I'd always tell her, believe it, it's happening.
That's awesome.
So long story short, from that week together, we spent the next 21 years together.
Wow.
Beautiful kid.
Well, I remember the time I met her, first time I met her was the Aspen Club Pro Celeb tournament that she was up here for. And I think that was around the time that Martina was like, I'm moving up here. And and then it was interesting because I did the tournament when I was, might have been a freshman in high school or a sophomore in high school. So, and then when I was a senior and you did the graduation speech and we had the graduation party, you guys showed up. So it was like, there was a few people in our class that Chris knew from the tournament. You know, a couple of kids that were helping and getting water and helping people around, because that was the tennis team's job. Was we got hired by the Aspen Club to do the water, be the ball boys, you know, deal with all that stuff. So it was fun because we got an insight and we got to meet some folks. And then it was kind of cool to sort of have you two come into the graduation, because it sort of felt like, I don't know, it kind of felt like, for us, it felt like a person, a couple that is out there doing it. They're in the light. They're having their life. And it was, for us, it was sort of a shot of, we could do that. That's what we need to shoot for. You know what I mean?
Look, it's also too, you know, it's really important, and it still is for me. Don't forget where you came from.
Yeah.
Don't forget, I do so many clinics around the country speaking about a bunch of different things. Usually it's about how to be a better tarpon fisherman, a better angler, because all these fishing clubs hire me to come in and speak. But it's like, don't forget, that water that you once drunk at a very young age and what got you to where you were at. Because we're all in this game together. And I think that's one of the great things that I introduced Chrissy to, was the common man, because she was such a superstar at such a young age.
Oh yeah.
She was born into the world of limousines and private jets at the age of 13.
Yeah.
So when we lived here in Aspen together in this house, our kids were at the skateboard park every day with everybody else, all the moms and pops. And then when our kids were playing in tennis tournaments and racing motorcycles, we were now staying in Holiday Inns. And I had a 20-foot race trailer, and I had 7 race bikes. And the next day we were at the racetrack with all the other moms and pops.
Yeah.
The grassroots, man.
Yeah.
We all came from the same playground.
Yeah.
Let's not forget where we came from. And I think that is one of the things that I hold dear to my heart, is that, we all came from the same Wagner Park here in Aspen. We all grew up from the same rivers here.
Yeah.
And I love sharing. I love like speaking at the graduation class, from Aspen High.
Well, it feels
here we are together doing this podcast together.
Yeah.